After having that vivid explanation from my sales agent, I've now concluded that hey, I need to get an insurance policy. But the next important question is, how much of my income am I going to use to buy that educational or funeral policy? Because at the end of the month, I virtually get to spend everything on bills and various financial responsibilities. Stay tuned on this episode where we get to look at how much or what's the portion of my income am I using to buy life insurance that I can be very consistent with payment every single month till the end of the policy. Stay tuned. You're welcome to my insurance channel, Insurance Today. Jacob Jackson here to give you insightful tips about insurance. If you're finding anything so interesting or some comments or certain questions about the topic in question for today, don't forget to drop it in my comment section below there. Smash my like button if you're getting to have this topic as an interesting one. If this is your first time joining me here, don't forget to subscribe. Today, we are looking at a very important topic. How much of my income am I getting to put into life insurances, right? So what are the things that I look at before I get to sacrifice my income to buy an insurance policy? The first point we are going to look at before taking a life insurance, we are going to have a look at the assumed personal impact of risk happenings or risk occurrences, right? So insurances basically measures the happening of various risks and tries to cover them. But the happening of these risks may have different impacts on various individuals. For example, I'm the firstborn to my family, and virtually I take care of most of the responsibilities at home. So today, should I lose my mom or my dad, I know that my rest of siblings are not really working or doing anything substantial. So most of the contributions are coming from me. So when I'm taking a policy to cover my mom or my dad, I need to make sure I don't just ask for the minimum premium. No. I need to look at the various sum assured and then at least try to cover mom and dad with a substantial sum assured that should the unforeseen happen, I will be well embarrassed to take over every responsibility that hits me. So the amount of my salaries moving in there will not just be just anything I feel like just doing a life policy, but I'll take time and try to sacrifice certain spendings and have a substantial sum assured that I can sustain through the years. So should the unforeseen happen or that risk event come across, I can take any responsibility that it brings. And with this, I know that the policy I took can't stand for the reasons when should the unforeseen what happen. Second point I'm going to be looking at is the intent of savings and its economic relevance, right? So this has really got to do with the savings or the endowment packages. For example, an educational package. I'm intending to take my unborn child or my child who will be born in the next year, at least by when he's 3 years and he's starting school. I want him to start with a given international school or a given class of school. And I've tried to find out about their fees. Now, I want to take an education policy. I cannot just start with a minimum premium or just something little. I need to be able to, on my own, calculate that, hey, if this amount is moving into this policy in the next 2-3 years, and I want to go for a partial withdrawal, will it be that substantial to at least push my ward into school? So your intention should be calculated. So if certain expenses should be sacrificed, so that's my child's policy I'm taking in the few years to come when I'm in need of his fees, right? I can get something substantial that I can use to cushion the various expenses or educational expenses coming out. Then I will be willing to sacrifice. So anytime that I'm taking a policy, it's not about just quoting a premium, but at least I'll set to calculate. I have the next 2-3 years before I come into this policy to take something to help this my child or to help this my expecting baby who is coming, so that whenever I'm coming to make a partial withdrawal, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm going to have at least a substantial amount that would be what? Relevant. All things being equal, I can use to what? Pay his fees and what have you. That's why we mentioned what? It's have what? Economic relevance. So anytime you are looking at taking a savings or a child's policy, don't just start with something little, but look at the fees that you are committing or the various educational expenses, and then at least look at sacrificing something substantial to start the policy. So anytime you are coming in for a partial withdrawal or you are coming in for a part of your educational package, it's not just going to be anything little, but something that matches up to the class of school that they find themselves. Right? So that is for what your educational packages. And even for my personal savings package, I should be intentional with the premium I begin with, because I'm targeting certain projects in the next 10 years with this amount. It is not just any savings I'm doing that, hey, what's the minimum premium? Let me start with it. No. At least looking at the project ahead, I need 1 million Ghana cedis to start with in the next 10 years. I need a 500,000 Ghana cedis to start with in the next 10 years. So when I'm starting such a policy and I ask for the minimum premium, which is a 50 Ghana cedis, I think I'll be doing myself a lot of harm. Looking at the amounts that I'm expecting, can I at least begin with a 500 Ghana cedis, with a 300 Ghana cedis? Because all things being equal, even a year when I'm doing a 500 Ghana cedis, then I'm looking at what? 6,000 Ghana cedis, right? And when I consider my increments, I know that at the end of the day, 50 or 100,000 is quite what? Possible. So sometimes you got to be intentional with your premiums, depending on the intent you have at the end of the day. So you may not be quite disappointed with your returns that these insurances bring, or the amount that when you should be in need you are going for, you wouldn't be disappointed at it, right? Third point I'll be looking at is the streams of income that a person may have. Now, a given individual may have about 3 streams of income, 4 streams of income, and I could say that, hey, I'm using this particular stream of income to what? Have my insurance policies. So it's not about the minimum or the maximum premium. I know I realize at least 3,000 every single month or 1,000 every single month from this my particular business I do, and I want all my insurances to go through that. So when I'm arranging my funeral policies, my investment policies, my endowment policies, my risk policies, I want everything to match up to the stream of income, and you may be right there. So I'm not looking at using everything I earn, but this particular stream of income should move into insurances. So when you're determining the amount of resources moving into your insurances, you have a given resources that even if I exhaust all these resources for my insurances, I'm good to go there. And hey, you would be right there. Fourth point I'll be looking at here is my salary structure and my various forms of what? Incrementals. I guess we've gotten to hear about yearly increments or inflational protectors on insurances, and you realize that maybe you start a policy with 100 Ghana cedis. The following year it moved to what? 130 Ghana cedis. The following year it moved to 169 Ghana cedis, right? That is what? A 30% increment every single year. For whether your policy is going to move by 10%, a 15%, a 30%, you should consider your salary incrementals every single year, because if the policies, the increment you chose is not matching up with the increments that is gotten every single year, you are not careful, you may not be able to what? Sustain it, right? Yes, we may not have everyone having certain increments every single year, but at least to a very fair point of view, make sure that various increments you are taking is not just selected, but you weigh it against your yearly increment or your yearly expenditures that you have, right? So at least whenever you choose a 10, a 30, a 20% increment in your what? Policy, it can be sustainable. It will not be a point that you start it and at a point you need to go and cancel the policy because it's draining you too much. So that is a point to look out for. What are your increments you are having every single year? I think with my increments, I should be able to do a 30% on this particular policy. I started with 300 Ghana cedis. Oh, 30% is too high because I don't get such increments every single year. That would drain me. Let's start with the 10%. It's the sustainability over the years that is important, but not having very high expectations that you cannot sustain. Right? So always be mindful of your increments because that is adding additional income from what you earn onto your policy as the premium. So when you started with example 100 Ghana cedis, when a 30 Ghana cedis come to add, that means an additional income needs to go in there. So let's always be mindful of our increments when taking a policy, and with that, at least we can sustain through the years. My final point we are going to get to look at so far as this episode on how much of my income is moving into life insurances is we're going to look at the patterns of income realization. What we are handling today is a very important topic because it's got to do with the monies leaving your pocket at the end of the month. Remember to drop in your comments with your questions, your contributions, and certain things that doesn't really sit so well with you in the comment box below there. Get to smash the like button if you are getting to learn something from this video, and don't forget to subscribe here with Insurance Today Jacob Jackson. Okay, not everyone is a monthly earner. Not everyone's account is having a credit at the end of every single month. Some people earn their monies quarterly. Some people are even contract workers. Hey, for us, how do we get to take insurance policies? Fortunately, all ways of contributing to insurances is not strictly monthly. We have yearly payments, we have biannually, we have quarterly before even the monthly sets in. So look at your various streams of income or your various income realizations and choose the package that best suits. So if you are comfortable by the nature of your work to pay yearly, go ahead and do your payments yearly, because maybe you may be an entrepreneur and monthly deductions doesn't sit well too much with you. You want to go with biannually. You pay once every 6 months, and that is okay, right? So observe yourself. So the monthly will best work with people with various civil servants, people who are monthly workers, people who are salary workers. Yes, the monthly sets very well with them. But for you, that contract person, for you, that entrepreneur, for you whose work is not really seasoned, right? Or it's seasonal in a way that it depends on the season. The work may come. Sometimes you may not have certain contracts. Kindly go ahead and look at yearly, biannually, or quarterly. Which one sits well with you, and be committed with it. It all comes back to the same thing. Thank you. I hope you got to find this episode quite interesting and you had one or two questions or comments. You drop in the comment box there. On my next episode, we'll be looking at where do I buy life insurances? Do I buy it from the sales agents coming to my office every day? Or because I'm being deducted from the bank, I should walk to the bank and buy from the various insurance stands I see there? Or should I go to the insurance company before I purchase a life insurance package? Join me on my next episode. We'll be looking at where do I buy life insurances. See you.